Uh, Today we are going to cover complex designing with straight table and pivot table. Okay, so those are also charts, but these are the not like visual charts. Actually, these are like reporting. Uh, Pratima, I can hear Naveen properly. So if you could just restart the meeting from your end, that would be great. Yeah, sure. Please just restart and we'll do have the discussion.
Hey Amit, can you hear me? Amit? Amit?
I guess he's away from his machine.
Oh, Naveen, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. So Naveen, I was going to actually ask,
Pratima, can you hear me?
what is it, Amit? Uh, yes, can you hear me, Amit?
Yeah. I was just muted actually. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, no problem. So Amit, as far as Naveen and I don't know if there's one more person in the class, if they are
Yep.
okay, I kind of want to just review a few things related to, you know that I had an interview today, right?
Okay, no problem. That would be helpful for Naveen
So
also because Naveen is also preparing for the interview. Uh,
yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
So I had an interview, it went well, and they gave me a real-time scenario on what they are expecting when I have one more interview tomorrow with the same group.
Okay.
So they kind of gave me some scenarios and they asked me what their expectation is. I just wanted to review with it and kind of be a little more prepared for tomorrow's interview, and that's what I wanted to discuss. So the project what I've been interviewed for is, so
Okay.
they have already several QlikView dashboards developed.
Okay.
Okay. And so it is just like how we say departments, like you say sales, customer, all these departments, right?
Right.
So this one has it's an oil and gas company. So
Okay.
they have two product lines. One is drill bits and Sperry.
Okay.
Those are the two product lines. So they are diversifying both of those products. They are selling it out.
Okay.
Because they are selling out those products, they have to now divide. They have to go into. They have built two new QlikView environments. It seems whole new servers. Okay.
Okay.
So now the assignment I am going to have when I go there is, so now whatever it's in a folder structure currently, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But they are collaborated for drill bits and Sperry. All of the QEDs, QVW files, whatever they are, right? The whole application.
Okay.
So now I need to segregate them and put them into the appropriate server. Okay. So
Okay.
the first question they asked me is, how would you start this approach, is what they asked me.
Okay.
So the way I answered them, tell me if this approach is right. The way I answered them is, I would first look into the structure. Then I would go and look at the associated two different PSLs objects, relevant objects, what loads are done, and then I will separate the QED. So the ones related to Sperry will go into the Sperry QED folders in that new environment. So there's two server one, server 2.
Okay.
So I will keep server 1 for Sperry and server 2 for drill bits. And then I will go into each load files and see what data is getting loaded. And if it's relevant to Sperry, then I will transfer that QED into the server 1. If it's relevant to drill bits, I will transfer it into the server 2. Similarly, I will do with the same with the dashboards also. Sperry
Just a
dashboards
quick
would go
question,
into.
Pratima here. Uh,
Mhm.
okay. So my question is, did you are the queries are common for both of these clients, Perry and Drillbits?
So that's what I told them. When I look at the loads, I will see if there's any common data elements. If there are common data elements, then we need to determine at that point, it will be a business question whether they need to be segregated. So based on that, we may need a change to the load process, the load script, or whatever it is. But at this
Exactly.
point in time, yeah. So at this point in time, the way I'm envisioning, I'm hoping they are both different. So I will first concentrate in looking at what is getting loaded, what objects are there, who is related to Sperry and who is related to, and same thing I will do with the user groups also. So there will be a configuration file, and then there might be some user roles created. So that also I will need to sit and segregate and split up the groups and put it into separate servers. So this is exactly what I explained them how I would take the approach. So I believe they were how should I put it? So they liked the approach, I guess, what I said. And tomorrow I have another set. It's going to be technical, is what they said. So they want me to talk a little more about the folder structures, what I've used in my previous project, what was the folder structure I used,
Okay.
and talk a little bit about tasks. So folder structure, I went through the video. The second session, what we did was on the folder structure.
Right.
So I went through that video today, and I kind of have a good understanding. But I have a few questions for you to make sure when I answer them tomorrow
Sure.
that I'm giving them the right information.
Sure, please.
So when you explained in that video, there were application is the user document, and the rest of the folders, which is bin, configuration, log, extract, export, all of these data, all of these were source documents, is what you mentioned, right?
Exactly.
And then the four main folders. The four main folders where we first create a QE maker in the QE maker document in the extract folder, is what you mentioned,
Exactly.
which is the QEW file which we will use to create the QEDs, the connection string and the QEDs.
Right.
But the QEDs, we give a path so they get created in the data folder. So that is the second step.
Exactly.
And the third step you mentioned was to read the QEDs to put it in the source, data model,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Just putting one intermediate step here. Okay. Doing some changes in your statements. Naveen, you can also hear like it would be very helpful both for both of you. And this is
Okay.
100%. I can write it that it's always been asked in any interview. Okay. So regarding this folder structure, and Pratima, I was also expecting this question to be arised. Yes. And the second step, what you told, like the second step is after the QVDs are generated, you are just loading those QVD to data model, right? So this is
Yes.
what you do for the small application, and we were showing in the training approach only. Okay. And
Yeah.
one thing I told you, if you could remember it, I told you that for big applications, we doesn't load QVDs to the data model directly and do the transformation in the data model itself. Rather, we do
Okay.
load those QVDs. Those are the raw QVDs to another layer called transformation or transform. Yes,
Okay.
transform. Okay, and in that layer,
Okay.
whatever the changes we need in the table, like if you want to bifurcate some fields, let's say if you want to extract a date, month, a year, quarter, all those fields from date dimensions. If you want to make some
Uh-huh.
changes in the QVD fields, and some more transformation if you want to apply there, then that
Mm-hmm.
QVDs you will generate again. Those QVD will be
Okay.
named as, let's say my QVD is category.qvd. That's not in
Mm-hmm.
our conventional scenario now. You can create another QVD which will be the succeeding steps. That QVD name would be category transformed.qvd.
Okay. I think you showed us this also
Yes, I
because I
told
think
you
I asked
exactly.
you, yeah,
Yes, I told you.
multi-tier.
Yeah, that multi-tier QVD architecture, and when you are going to give a interview for a solution architect kind of thing, this question is frequently asked. Okay,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
repeat, Naveen, if you could not understood, Naveen, did you understood properly? Like what I'm trying to say?
No, Amit, sorry.
Okay, yeah,
Kind
please.
of confusing
So
for me.
I want you to be like more expressive so that you know means no. Okay. So the first approach is, I'll tell you. In the notepad, I make you understood. Uh, First, what you're doing. First step is, this is first step. I'm creating the folder name also.
Amit,
Yeah,
Amit,
yeah,
Amit,
please. Yeah, yeah.
if you don't mind, if you don't mind, I have my husband next to me here because the project that I got interviewed is it's under him actually.
Okay,
So he has a question that he wants me to ask you. I'm not
sure.
understanding his question.
Sure, you can
Would
bring
you
him to
mind just
the
hearing
meeting directly. I'll welcome him.
one,
Okay,
1 second? Let him ask his question that he wants to.
sure.
Hello, Amit. I'm sorry if I'm disturbing your class.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, sir. How are you?
Uh,
I'm very much
Pretty
humbled
good,
to being
pretty
here
good.
in the class.
No, 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 no. Thank you very much.
Okay.
One of the things is this project is they are divesting out a particular product line in a company. They are
Okay.
two companies are merging, and because of antitrust policies and all, they have to divest two of the product lines
Okay.
from one of the companies. So
Okay.
what is happening is they have to give them the new companies that they are selling off to the new company, the product lines. They have to give them all the QVWs,
Okay.
and the QVDs have to be copied.
Okay.
But since the data in the QVDs are the old companies,
Okay.
they want to drop all the data in the QVDs.
Okay.
So
Got it.
just the structure should stay there.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll give it off back to my wife so you can answer it to her, please.
Sure. 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 Got the exact
Thank
scenario.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I'm sorry about it.
It's okay, sir.
I'm sorry, Amit. He wants
Yeah.
me to be very clear with all this when I get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
it's my
project.
pleasure actually. It's my pleasure. Okay, so this question is, you have two clients, let's say client one and client two. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and both you might have couple of more clients also, organizations, but they
Mm-hmm.
have loaded two clients as such. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Mm-hmm.
when you want to just segregate those data and everything for different clients, so the QVW, QVDs and the folder structure, every stuffs would be common for both, but only the data of both the clients will be like
Different.
different, and they and respective to them only. Okay, data of both
Okay.
clients will be respective to their organizations only. No other clients will reference to any other will see or reference to any other client's data. Okay,
Okay.
so you must have remember Have you been to SAP domain, right? SAP
When you,
BI, right?
yeah, SAPB, yeah.
Okay, okay. So for each table, while they are loading, there must be a column called client ID. Just like in SAP, we have a column called mandate, right?
Okay, yeah.
Just like mandate. So for each client, they would have maintained a structure in the QVD. While they're loading, they should created the QVD based on specific clients. So as such, they're loading two clients, they will load first one client. Okay, one client, that is client one. That should be in the extraction layer, and the next layer
Okay.
will be QVD will be generated, and he has to refresh the transformed layer so that the transformed QVD can be generated, and he has to refresh the data model and application respectively, so that what will happen if all the four layers will be refreshed, and the data which is like fetched from the database with respect to a client one, that will be reflected succeedingly in four layers. Okay,
You're
and
right.
he has to do the filter only in the extraction layer, not in other layers. The filter should be like what I perceive is the filter should be in a way like select star from the table 1 where mandate or client ID is X. Okay, and for the next loading, if you are to share the data of client 2, likewise you can select the where clause the client Y. Okay,
So that is you're only putting a where clause in the
extraction layer, in the extraction layer.
extraction layer.
Yeah, other
But
layers.
yeah, go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
other layers will ultimately affect with this data actually. Okay, if there would be two clients in a filter, there would be one client ultimately in the filter in the UI.
Because the base data structure itself, you filtered it out,
Yes,
right?
there would be no impact in the UI, there would be no impact on the data modeling, there would be no impact on any other iteration. Only we are not changing any schema, right? If the
Yeah,
schema would
yeah.
be changed a little bit, then that will affect to thousands of iterations, so that would be problem. If the data would be changed anywhere, then there would not be any problem. So we are just changing the data. Okay, we are filtering the data in the very bottom level. Okay.
Yeah, the main. Yeah, I got you. I think I understood what you meant.
Yes.
So you mean to say because of this thing you're saying in server 1 and in server 2, I can copy the whole structure fully.
Yes.
Only thing I go into the extraction layer and add the where clause. In server 1, I say look for Sperry, and in server 2, look for drill bits or
Drill
whatever
bits
it
and
is.
schedule all the layers. Okay, all the layers
When
has
you
to be.
say schedule all the layers,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that,
Scheduling
Amit?
means I was about to show this in the publisher class, but if you have the interview, let me just tell you. Scheduling is we this is what happened in the publisher, or else you can do it through your Windows scheduler as well. Okay, for any layer, see, this is called loading. This is what we call loading. Okay, so by this you'll be getting the latest data from previous layer to this layer, or else if you haven't,
Mm-hmm.
if you have made any changes in this source code also, if you just reload it, it will be reflected in the UI. Unless until you reload, it will not be reflected. So
Okay.
this reloading cannot be performed by itself. See, now we are doing by manually, but when you just migrate those source code to the server, what will happen? There should be some engine, there should be some scheduling engine which will reload these layers. Okay.
That is what the task you create, right? So you go into the server thing and you create a task saying for each QVW document, I want the reload to run at this time is what you set up, right?
Yes. Yes. So
And
uh,
also you can do, I'm sorry, I'm
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, please.
interrupting you.
No,
And
no.
also on the screen that you're showing, there is a setting option, right? Can you click on that?
Okay.
Settings on the menu bar on your QlikView.
Okay.
You have tools, right? In that settings also there is an option where you can set up the refresh time, right? Am I right or wrong?
Not here actually. Refresh time would be set in
Okay.
the see whatever the global setting should be there. There should be in the user preference only, and
Okay.
in document property and sheet property would be like specific to the document and sheets. So this scheduling or reloading will be done through a batch job. Okay,
Okay.
that
Publisher
batch,
or
yeah,
scheduler.
yeah, that's skill. I'll
Okay.
show you. I'll show you. I'm not doing it right now, but I had another interview. I mean, I had another training files so that I can show you here. That okay, this one. So the same structure is follow for the other students also. I've taken many interviews, so the practice is same. So extract layer. Yeah. Here this is called config folder. Okay. I told you why a config folder is where the config folder is required, right? So basically
Configuration files is
configurations, all the like user label settings or anything like any jobs that would be some global activities if that would be performed to transform some application, then that would be placed in the configuration file, right? And that would not be a functional file. All these are the functional files. This is creating QVD and this data containing the data and your uh, bin. Where is the bin? Yeah, this is the data model actually. Yeah, this data model.
that was the question I
Extract.
had. This folder structure is different is what I was going to ask you. It does not have bin, it doesn't have log. It had
Uh,
transform.
no,
The one
bin
that we created did not have transform.
here itself actually I created the transform from them actually. Okay, so transform. This is the transform, and you should have another bin layer. Okay, transform will just transform the raw QVD to a refined QVD, and in the bin we will just load those. I mean, we have segregated those activity into two layers. That is what the normal practice is, just follows. Okay, right now in here in our scenario we have used this in transform and bin. Okay, so here in the config folder you can see there are three batch files I've created. Okay, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you,
Yeah,
Amit.
three batch files. If I'll just click one, it will create the QVD files. See, I'm just deleting this. I'm going to delete these QVD files. Okay, in the config folder. Even these are not our QVW files, right? What we are supposed to do?
Yes.
If we just open that QVD maker and reload that, then that would create our QVW file. I mean QVD files. But right now here,
Yes.
if I'm just clicking on this batch file, what is happening? See.
The batch job will run, and that batch job would be calling that QEW file.
See, the QVDs
Because
are
it calls
created.
the QEW file, it will
Yeah,
reload the QED,
these
create the
QVDs
DB.
are
Yeah.
created. Okay. Now, this is not the final step actually. Once the query is created, that latest query data would not be reflected or populated to our transform layer or data model, right? So what do we
Okay.
have to do? We have to reload the transform layer also. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we have done same data modeling and transformation in the same layer, but for a big application, as I said, you have to do in the separate layers. You have to create the QVD two
Okay.
times. One would be the raw QVD, second would be the transform
Transformed QED.
QVD, and those transform QVD would be loaded in the data model. And can you just tell me
Okay.
what is the use of doing such iterations? Why can't we load directly raw QVD, and why don't you make the transformation in the data model itself?
You mentioned that the performance would get affected if you do it in the raw QED.
Hmm.
So when you load it from a QED into a QED, it is much faster time. The transformations will be done faster. That
Yeah,
if I remember
that
right,
is
that
not
was the
exactly I
explanation.
wanted to hear from you actually. I want to hear from you that it would not be optimized. Okay,
Okay,
interviewer would be
optimize.
expecting to listen this word. Okay,
Okay,
then they will
okay,
ask you, have
optimize.
you ever heard about optimize and unoptimized load?
Okay,
So in the data model, you have to check while you are loading the QVDs, you'll have to check whether those QVDs are optimized QVD, and they'll again ask you that what is optimized and what is unoptimized QVDs. Okay, you
okay,
can say in the
okay,
data model QVDs are always recommended to be optimized load because data model have some other joining, concept, all those complex expressions should be there, tables should be joined together, and in that case, if the QVDs would not be optimized, the performance of data loading also be slow. Okay,
okay,
transformation should not be allowed there. Transformation would have been performed in your transform layer. So we will load those transformed QVD only, and will perform the optimized load here without doing any kind of changes or without doing any kind of slicing and dicing in the transform QVDs. We'll simply load those QVDs. We will create the joins actually. Okay, and optimize QVDs, if we while loading the QVD to data model or to any layer, if at the loading statement, if you're doing any kind of like iterations, like if you are renaming the field name, if you are extracting the date fields to month, quarter, years and all, if you are doing some more calculations in the QVDs loading statements, that would not be considered as a optimize QVD. Okay, that is what the interview expected to ask you. Okay,
okay, okay.
you can say it. And now if I'll just double click on the transform layer, transform batch job, that will call to our data model. Okay, and the data model will be again loaded, otherwise it will not be loaded and you will not be getting the latest data to the dashboard. Okay, just double clicking it, see to which layer it is. It's loading training underscore data model. Now that was loaded. Okay, you can see in the transform, now it is 8, now it is 6, today is 6, so data modified is 6th only. Okay, 6th at 8:24,
Okay.
immediately it is just loaded. And you could see in the application layer, it was last loaded on June. Okay, June 12th
Uh-huh.
2015. Okay, now I'm going to just
You're right.
double click on the batch of. Yeah, now you see it will be changed actually, it will need to be changed. Okay, so I think it will be changed in some time, or maybe it's refresh. Okay, so these three layers would be loaded one by one with this batch job, and that this batch job can be scheduled in your Windows scheduler. Okay, so in this way you can avoid procuring your your QlikView publisher. Okay, you can
Okay,
simply
okay,
procure QMC, not QEMC.
o- okay.
Because though even though QMC like publisher and server comes in a single portfolio of QEMC, but publisher you know has a separate license altogether. Okay, and
Yes.
server is also needs a separate license. So publisher role is just to load the QEW files to generate and populate the data. So generate the
But
QVD and
even but but even if you want bulk emails to be sent and things like
that
that,
can
we
be
would need
also
publisher.
smartly, that can be also smartly you can do it to through using macro. Okay,
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 so but server is mandatory. Without server you cannot share these QVW files to a number of users, and you cannot make it secure and all. Okay, but for small organizations they do not go for a publisher or even server also. Okay,
okay.
I have developed a couple of projects, freelancing projects from from finance, some finance company for Abu Dhabi and Oman, for Muscat Finance. I've
Uh-huh.
created in this way actually. They want
Okay,
Pradeep, Amit, we want, we have a small budget actually. So once we successfully develop our first dashboard to a CEO, we will procure the environment. That will cost
okay,
high. But initially they started with this personal edition with their server actually. The
Okay.
motto is not to share the code, not to just migrate the code to any other server, any other system. Then that will not work. But if you just started working on the same server or same system, then there's no problem. You can keep this code forever.
But this is only locally on your machine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they were using some VMwares to give the dashboard access to few of their clients. Those are like two, three clients, and they are very strategic users, very top level users. So that was not mean for every end user. That's why they preferred
Okay.
this. Okay, they are CEO,
Okay.
directors, and they are like CFO. They were using that dashboard actually. So they were giving the uh, VMware access to the server, and in this way
Okay.
they didn't procure the server ClickView server, they didn't procure the ClickView
Publisher.
publisher, and they had only a single shortcut file of QEW application QEW on their desktop. Okay, they were asking their CIO or CEO to just log into the VMware, just open it at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at any time. So isn't it good? So
Okay.
you can also
It
develop
is.
yeah,
It is.
yeah. So it can be fit to your requirement also. If you are going for a small organizations or you're starting a organizations, why should you go for procuring this much of huge infrastructure cost, right? So in Indian currency, ClickView, personal edition desktop, 5 licenses will cost you 1.2 lakhs. Okay, 1.2 to 1.5 lakhs. Okay, and the publisher and server cost you around 25 lakhs. Okay, so that's not a small amount. So management would think, they maximum people are trying in this way, then they are procuring the server.
Okay. And in real-time environment, when you do data modeling, you have a big enterprise data model done, and they build small data marks off of that based on the reporting needs, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So here also it can be the same. So you can have one data model, ClickView application, which is one enterprise architect,
Mhm.
and based on that you can have several other what is it? Several other data models, small data marts can be there. You still would call it a
This
application file,
cannot be
right?
called as a data mart actually. Data mart is
Hmm.
something like, this is the output of your data warehouse, enterprise data warehouse. And
Okay.
as you're talking like in big organizations, especially in healthcare domains, data are used to receive from different sources, like structural and unstructural data. Okay, structural in the sense there should be in RDBMS, there should be SQL Server data, there should be Oracle server data, and unstructured data would be in the case like CSV files, some TXT files, some Excel files, some emails. All those will be all those, these are some different data sources. So people does follow some different approach, some different data warehouse like Natiza or like Informatica, all those ETL tools or data warehousing tools to just make it structured and to create a data mart. So data mart would be inbuilt data view actually, where all those tables will be joined together, or all those tables will be created as a view, and that view you can finally retrieve by select cases. But in our ClickView, we were only just doing the data model based on a structural data only, not unstructural data. Okay,
Okay.
data mart is just compressing the unstructural data and structural data to a data vault. Okay, and data vault is just a kind of compressing the data up to 99%. Okay, and they are having some like inbuilt OLAP and OLTP engines, which will just at the time of selecting the data from the data mart, they retrieve the data to any other vault like RQVW or the extract layer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the next question I had was, we have a structure that we spoke about, that these are the folders that when you create a QlikView project, these are the base folders and this is the general practice we follow, right?
Yeah.
On the server side also we have that user documents, those settings are there, right? Server, user documents, and source documents. I think those are the three tabs we have, right, on the server.
Yes.
Should the folder structure be the same as how you set up your project folder here on the local machine, on the desktop machine?
Yes. So it might be or it might not be, but that's why we have mentioned the path of the QEDs in a way so that if they would change the path in the server also, that would nowhere be impacted. Okay.
I see what
So,
you say.
yeah. So you just give the you just share the QEW files or your entire dashboard folder to the administrator. Okay, or QVD file he might not need. Okay, administrator will just take those files and replace in their server repository, server folder structure, and he might reload the QVDs maybe from your application source or maybe from somewhere else. Okay, maybe from a from a secure QVD repository they would be maintaining, or maybe on a separate system altogether. They might have some network path rather than local path. Okay, that path will be changed by the administrator in the data model. Okay, in the directory part. You got what I mean, right?
Kind of. I'm not 100%
Okay,
sure
just a
if I
second.
got it. But,
Just a second here. What we are following here in this yeah, data model, we have given this path only to load those queries. We don't know where those queries are located, right? So what we
yes.
can do, we will just share uh, not QVDs, the entire codes uh, to the administrator. Okay, except this, because QVD will take the huge size while transferring the data to server. Okay, and they are going to reload the layers in the server again from the extraction to application. Okay, and if he is just keeping this data folder in your application folder in the server, then that's okay. Or else if he has some central QVD repository, and in that case he can go to this location and change the path of the central repository instead of here, instead of this data. Suppose in the server,
So you,
instead of data folder, they are keeping all the application queued in a central folder. Let's say in the C drive or somewhere else. Okay,
mhm.
that path you will just copy and just paste here, so that those QEDs will be loaded from this folder actually.
So you mean to say it is not necessary that the QVDs need to reside on the server? Is that what you're trying to say
Yes,
here?
yes,
They can
yes.
be on a totally separate. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
usually that happens actually. In my organizations, we are following this approach actually. Okay, so for the training purpose, I just describing what you can do by your individual. But the in big organizations, while you are working in a team, uh, even all the person might not work in a single layer. Some people would be working for the data extraction actually. Okay, some people will be working on data model. They do not know
Mm-hmm.
even where those data are they are fetching. Those
Okay.
data would be fetched from a network repository. Okay,
Okay.
uh, network repository, and they might not have the access to that network repository. Okay, they will simply just give this path and reload load those QEDs and creating the data model. And some other people should be working in the UI also. That might be some chances. And once you're done, the lead will integrate all those and just share those QVW files to the administrator. Naveen, are you
Okay.
there? Are you getting what I mean, or getting
Yes, Amit.
confused? And this would be very helpful to you also, because this is how the
Yes,
real-time
Amit. Yeah.
approach follows in the companies.
Okay.
Okay, Pratima, did I answer your questions?
I think you did. So tomorrow mainly my focus is going to be, I think the interview is going to be based on what was the folder structure that I had used in my previous environment,
Okay.
and what kind of tasks, how did this reload process happen. So
Okay.
what I was going to tell is on the QlikView server, I had created using publisher, I had created what is it reload tasks
Yeah.
which were scheduled on a regular basis, and they would run the scripts and load the data
Yeah.
and refresh the data. So is that an appropriate answer to give?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So when if they ask me what are the different types of tasks you created, so basically the only different tasks that I can think of is reload tasks,
Yeah.
reload of QVD files, and the data model, and the transformation layer, and the application layer. Those are
Yes.
the reloads.
Yes.
And then schedule jobs would be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Basically the scheduled jobs would tell what time those reloads to run.
Exactly.
That's it. That's, other than that, that's pretty much what I can think are tasks.
Yeah. 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 Tax is the same what you are thinking about. Okay.
Okay. And one question I want to clarify with you, Amit. So in business objects, the way I was doing, so if I develop a crystal report, or even let me do an IDT, we use IDT to develop the universe, right?
Okay.
After the universe is developed, what you do is you right click on that universe and you say publish. When you say publish, then that pop-up window comes up for us where you tell which path, which server it goes to,
Yeah.
that right universe.
Okay.
So in this case, we developed everything locally on our machine right now on the desktop, right?
Yes.
So if I have to move these files to the server, what is the action I do? Do I go to the management console to copy it from my local into the user documents, or from the QlikView itself, there is something where you go and click a button that it gives you the path to push it to the server?
No,
Did you
actually,
get my question?
yeah, yeah, got it. So you can just have a shared drive to just deploy it to the server. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can place it. Like your administrator would have given a shared drive
Network
access.
folder.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
network
network
folder
folder. Okay.
of the server. So you can just replace it on that. And administrator, what he's do? If you could have the knowledge on IIS also, I can show you right now. Just I don't have this real-time server with me, but I can show you with IAS. This is exactly how it's look like in QMC.
Naveen, hope I'm not taking away the time from the class.
No, 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 not at all.
So,
Even I'm also learning something.
okay. uh, Naveen, actually these are going to be discussed. I mean, it was supposed to be discussed, but in few class later. So these are all server and publisher classes. Okay. So
Okay.
so though we have the interviews, so I mean the Pratima has the interview. So I mean we are just pre-scheduling those classes. Okay. So anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, this is called IaaS. Okay, Internet Information Services. This is how exactly the your QlikView server performing. Okay, IaaS is a web server or internet server in a server which just deploy your .NET application to a browser-based interface. Okay, so it just uh, deploy your .NET application, which is the time of development. It is there in Windows format. Uh, so that this can be accessed through a web browser. That is how this is performing by IaaS. Okay, so what you have to do in this folder, you have to create a add virtual directory. Okay, you have to give a virtual directory, let's say XYZ. Give the physical path here. Physical path would be in the C drive, there would be inet pub, there would be www root, where I'll see all my applications would be sites. I'm just giving the path. Let me just, okay, this is what my application is, and this is what our dashboards would be in our QMC. And you have to choose the physical path, and okay, yeah, this is already exists, that's why it's showing error. And here you have to go for permissions and all, and you have to, in ClikView side, you have to, once you just create a virtual directory, there it is called as what I say, mounted folder. Okay, in ClikView QMC, those folders are called mounted folder. You have to create a folder, then you have to just, you have to give the path to that folder. Let me just show you the real-time scenario also. So this is what the server is. Okay, I just took a video from my office server, so just for to demo you. Okay, for the, so here as you can see we have four basic tabs. Okay, status, document, user, and system. In the system you would have the services to start the server. In the status you can just see the status of the job those are running, and in the user you have the list of users created. Okay, I'll show you. You have to check while you're clicking while you're running the ClikView server, you have to check these services are running in your uh, system services console or not. So you have to check and start all these services. You would have these many services: ClikView directory service connector, okay, ClikView distribution services, ClikView management services, and ClikView server, ClikView server setting services. So all these four services will be like, will need to be started. Okay,
Just like in BO, we can drop and restart
yes,
these.
yes.
Okay.
In the status you can see you have task, services, and QVS statistics. So in the services you have to do go only, you have to check these services should be start. If not, then you can just right click and start it. Okay, these are running all these things. Yeah, here in the system part you have a setup. Okay, in the setup tab I mean in the system you have sub tabs. Okay, you have to just create the mounted folder. This is called mounted folder. Okay, so this is how the root directory is. Okay, ClikView server root directory, how I was showing in IIS also, you have a default websites. This is called root directory. Okay, and here
Which,
this is
which is
exactly
the root directory, Amit? Which is the root directory?
in ClikView server would be installed in a location, maybe in the C drive. In that folder there would be a folder called data. Okay, that is called as a root directory. Okay, all the applications
Okay.
will be, all the applications virtual directory or mountain folder will be created there itself. Okay, and even if your applications resides anywhere else in that system, maybe in the D drive, maybe in the E drive, but the root directory, that mounted directory will be created inside that server folder only. Okay, inside the server installation folder. So And this is my this is the system of my system administrator actually. I just with the help of him I just taken uh, video. Okay. So you can see here in the server you can see the root directory, and right click, I mean just click on this, you'll get these many folders. Okay, you'll get a general folder, document, performance, lagging, security folder, for folder access, login. Okay, first of all you have to, root directory would be the installation folder where the QlikView and your QlikView server would be created, and that folder would be called document inside that. Okay, here these are the listed applications which are already being created. Okay, and you have to click on the plus here. Okay, once you click on the plus, you'd be just you'll be getting a pop off here. To on the bottom you have to create that. Yeah, you have to create the application name. Let's say in our case it is sales dashboard, and from here just go to this folder and click on this. It will show you the browsable option so that you can browse the uh, path. Okay,
So these are all what
see
you
the
say
same folder
mounted
structure.
folder here.
Yeah, as you can see in the server also, this is the QlikView server actually, it's not a desktop. Okay, so
Yeah,
you
it's a
can see
server.
the same folder structure have been maintained there also. Okay, so we have just copied this application called QV Jindal to the folder actually. Okay, all these folder application structures are there. So what we're doing, we're just going to the inside the application folder. This folder, this folder path can be kept. Okay, and the final application folder will be hosted here in this folder. You can browse it or you can just copy the path and paste it. You have to check this option so that it can be browsed. This option is called browsable option. Okay. This is browsable option. This is called a browsable option.
So within that application folder, you can have subfolders also, right? You can
Yes.
have multiple QVWs and you can have subfolders. So when you have subfolders,
Mm-hmm.
then the mounted folders, then you need to create a path for every subfolder here.
No,
Say for example, inside
no,
application, you have one for Sperry and one for drill bits.
yeah. For both the
Then do we
applications,
create two?
for both the application, they can create two mounted folders. There's no problem. So let's say there are two subfolders, and in that two subfolders, there is everything is different. QVDs, QVW files, all these are the difference. Okay, only the client one underscore dashboard, client two underscore dashboard. There are two dashboards should be there in two different folders, right? So you have to go to this their individual
Yeah.
application folder, then copy the path and paste here. Okay,
Okay.
so you can see here we have given working and here we have given application. I just forgot to tell you also, in the application in the dashboard folder you can create another folder called working, so that when you are working on a dashboard on a daily basis also, you can deploy to see the progress to the management. Okay, and after the final application is done, you can integrate those and you can place it inside the application folder. Okay, these working folders, these working projects were not live now. This application project is live. Okay, you got my point, right?
When you say live, they
Live
are
means like they are like completed and they are used by the real-time users. Okay,
users.
this development has been completed. So just like I mean, they said like this QEW. I mean, this browse option. I can go to here, open in server. Okay, I have to give the ClickView server path. Let's say my local system IP address is something else. I'll give the ClickView server path. Let's say, okay, this is my ClickView server. I mean, this would be the IP address of other system. This is path and port number. So if you just connect it, it will ask you for user ID and password. It's unknown actually. If you just connect it, it will ask you for user ID and password. If you are using NT authority, it will not ask you. If you are going through a particular identity, you have to give the user ID and password. Okay. So if you just click this mounted folder browsable, then that folder can be viewed in the ClickView server here. I mean ClickView desktop here. Okay. So if you are just finishing work of one ClickView desktop and just connect to that folder and open, then your ClickView server, I mean this file can be deployed to a server also. So in this way, after giving the browsable option, we just these many applications, those are hosted actually. We can see these applications also from and we can just open those applications in the desktop also. Okay, this desktop just connect to the server, just click that application, and whatever the changes you want to perform on that, you can do the changes and repo. I mean,
Republish it
you
back.
republish it.
And in order to have that option, what is the setting? You said the mounted folder should be set with something you said.
Yeah, the mounted folder should be shared with the application folder of your dashboard. Okay,
Dashboard.
not file here. I don't. I mean, we are least bothered about the QEW files. We are like um, here focusing on the folders. Okay, in the folders, as many QEW files will be there that can be open in your server. And suppose you would have uh, one application and two QEW files of application folder. Okay, in the application folder, let's say there are the data model is separate. There are two different data models, so the business logic is different for both the applications, and both the applications are kept in a application folder. Okay, let's say for
Okay.
client A and client B. And if you just select the application folder here in the mounted folder, once you go to the access point, you can see two dashboards. There are two
Yes.
different dashboards for two different clients, and their data on everything would be different for their respective business logics. Once you do it, yeah, so this, when you install the QMC, you will get that would be exactly installed in the ClickView folders, ClickView installation folder. You'll get two more thing. One is ClickView access point, which is the output of the dashboard actually in the server, and ClickView management console. ClickView management console is means that we have not the publisher. ClickView management console and ClickView enterprise management console, QMC and QEMC. Okay, there are two different terms, and the difference is in QMC we do not opt for what publisher. Publisher is not there in the portfolio, but if it is QEMC, this is also being asked by the in the interviewers also many times. Okay, in QEMC there should be There should be the
There should be publisher too.
publisher purchase in that portfolio actually. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
we have also does not purchase the publisher, but we are doing the data publishing through batch jobs.
Okay.
Because we have the alternatives why you procure for separate license. Now once you
Okay.
just done with the installation and all the setups, uh, that much actually, I mean simply mounted folder and browse this path and make it browsable and publish. That can be open in your access point. Access point should look like this. That would be like your local host. If it is a local machine, click you and the folder would be index.html. Inside that the many dashboard you have deployed, that would be seen here.
So, so Amit, from the scenario, what I told you that they've created two server environments where different files need to be copied into, right? So
Hmm.
when I open the QMC in that place, then I am going to see two different from the screen, whatever you are showing, I will have two servers showing there,
Yes,
right?
they are installed the two instances of the server in two different hardwares.
Yeah.
Is it so?
Yes, that's what I. Yeah,
Okay.
because they're going to, because it's two different companies getting it, right? So they do have two hardware, two separate servers is what I understood.
Okay.
So which means in that QMC I will see two server names there, right?
Right.
And then so the root folders, so in my case I will have one root folder for server 1 and one root folder for server 2, and then there'll be several mounted folders based on whatever dashboards have been built
Exactly.
appropriately, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So the when you say root folder, uh, can I get a definition what is meant by the root folder? It is the
See,
actual where the server is residing?
yes, I mean server path is in my system here. Just assume my laptop is my server. Okay, the server can
Okay,
be
okay.
installed in your laptop, but it's need very high configuration. Okay, the system which I was showing, there was a Windows 2008 R2. There
Mm-hmm.
was a server operating system, but ClickView server cannot be loaded in our laptop. It needs at least 8 GB of RAM minimum. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's need a dedicated system actually. No other applications to be installed there. Okay, so
Okay.
you can see in my C drive, I have actually, I think it is installed in the, yeah, my ClickView I have installed in another drive actually. So by default people install it on C drive. Okay, C drive inside the program files. Okay, and this is the ClickView folder. Inside this, we do not have the document folder right now. We have the ClickView development files, plugin themes and all. But when you select a server, at the time of installation, it will just say you for giving the path. By default, it will take your ClickView path actually, ClickView installation path. Okay.
QlikView installation path.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ClickView installation path. That
That's
is
the
now,
root.
yeah. Inside that, so it will create a document folder. Just like this, I'm installing the server here. Okay. You have to go for admin mode.
Okay.
So click your installation. Click your server installation. Okay. Choose the language. Your server class is going to be end today. So, okay. See, here it is opting to choose the organizations. Okay. And now it's automatically taking the ClickView folder path, because in your server what would be there? First of all, your ClickView desktop would be there. Okay, ClickView desktop, otherwise you cannot open the ClickView files. Okay, and it while you install the server separately, it will automatically take the ClickView that desktop path. And now after you select the path, you will choose you to these options: ClickView server, reload and distribution engine, management console, single machine full install, additional server services, web servers. I don't want to do all these things. Okay, or if you have the license, you can choose all. So you can install at least QlikView server and management console.
Okay.
Okay. Then username and password. So you have to select a domain name also. Okay, domain name means like your system is configured with LDAP. Okay, lightweight directory access protocol. So that LDAP, I mean through that LDAP you can just select the user that who will access these dashboards. Okay,
Mhm.
so that if you mean this dashboard to be accessed by five number of users, strategic users, so then in the LDAP you can search the users, that users will be fetched from your active directory, and you can just configure this application to be viewed by them only. Otherwise other users would not be permissible to open this application. So that's why we are setting our
Okay.
protocol actually.
That is user authentication setup that we do.
User
We go
authentication
into
setup.
user.
Yeah,
Yeah, we go into users, and in users you tell how many
yeah,
there's some number of documents you first set up. After you set up the number of documents, you go and give that you keep adding the users who can access those documents. Am I right?
exactly. Yeah, username, give the username and password. This is how the active directory name. Let's say my domain is cognizant.com slash Amit Kumar. Then give it, and the password of your system. Okay, that can be given there in the server also. That's all only. Then select and next or finish. And after that you have to set the you have to restart the system, and you have to configure the license over there. Once the installation is completed, just go, and you can see here in the QlikView part. So
But
yeah,
that root folder setup is a one-time setup, right? Once you set up one time, you just keep adding the mounted folders.
right.
Okay.
So you don't have to explicitly create any folder actually. When you create a QMC, when
Uh-huh.
it would automatically create a document folder inside your QlikView folder. Okay, inside that folder, all
Okay.
those for all those mounted folders would be resides. Even you don't have to physically
Okay.
go and check where it is. Okay, you have to go through the
Okay.
QMC only. Just go to QEMC. Here now you can see it is QEMC, QlikView Enterprise Management
Okay.
Console. It has the publisher. Okay, go to users, systems. There would be a license. Okay, select the server and publisher. As I told you, even though they are installed, I mean you can also download and install it, but that would be installed in the same portfolio, but you need a separate license altogether for accessing both of these two.
Okay.
Select a QlikView server and just go to QlikView server license, give the serial name, control ID, and paste your LEF file. That is optional actually. Name of your organizations and name and organizations. So here you have to ensure that you should have the active internet connection there in the server, so that it will take a few time initially to connect to QlikView OEM. Okay, and I mean Qlik.com. Those are the OEM of the QlikView, and the license will be verified from their server actually. Okay, it's not like any offline license file so that you can upload and do. Okay, put the license and control there, and these two are needed actually, serial number and control number. Once you do it, apply license and restart the QlikView server. So automatically it will start serializing those, and you'll get a message here that success. and the same thing you have to do for the case of publisher also, if you have the license. You can go to the status and services. You can see those services not running. You can start those services. Okay. So these services has to be, it's for only monitoring here. You can check. You can just go and check from the system services and restart those. Okay. Here you have to check that all the services are running or not. And from the system services, once you just restart or make it automatic, you'll get the status here. That's what the installation is. It's pretty simple, and everything is there. Deployment and when all those stuffs are there for the server. It's pretty simple. The way you're thinking, like the main difficulties is there in the QlikView scripting and developing the dashboards. So deployment is just a matter of just a matter of half an hour tax. Okay.
Mhm. I guess once we put the hands on is when I will know how that will look. Right now
Yeah.
it's all over for me.
Okay.
So hopefully, but I'm glad you showed all this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Naveen, was it helpful to you?
Yes, Amit.
Okay, okay. So don't worry. If you require, also I'll repeat these steps in the server class once again and in the publisher class once again. Okay. I was about to show this in the last. So if Pratima is needing for the interview actually, so just pre-schedule the class right now. Okay. So
Really appreciate it.
okay. Thank you so much. My pleasure. So today's session was actually on. Can I just take a break of 5 minutes?
Sure.
Sure. Joining. Yeah.
Hey Naveen, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. You live in US or you're from India, Naveen?
No, I live in US, Houston, Texas.
Oh, you're in Houston too.
Yeah.
Okay. Houston too. Do you work here?
Recently I finished my master's.
Oh, okay. Where did you go to school?
St. Mary's, San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. I'll let you know if there's anything that comes up. Yes.
Okay, okay, sure. So you live in Houston. Where do you live in Houston?
Katie?
Oh, Katie. I live near Spring.
Oh, you live in Spring, Texas?
Yes, Spring. Tomball Spring.
Okay. So is this the only tool you learned, or you have learned other?
No, this is the only tool.
Okay.
Recently, long back ago, I took a training on the Cognos, the BI tools.
BI tool. Okay.
Yeah, the Cognos.
Hey Pratima, Naveen, I'm back.
We are here, Amit.
Okay, Naveen, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, sure. So we had an introduction to the charts. Let me have a quick review on that. We cover all the visual charts like pie chart, funnel chart, bar chart. This is line chart, which is filled with the colors. Okay. This is Mako chart. This is radar chart. It's a combo chart, which is a combination of line and bar chart. Okay. This is again a Mako chart, and so I was about to create the block chart. Actually, I just forgot block chart. It's a block chart. Okay. This is a grid chart. This is scatter chart, and it is gauge chart. Okay. If you see, the list we have completed up to this much. These two are this chart needs expressions actually. You need to know about the expressions. So these two charts have the same property, but few changes would be there. It is also a very much highly asked interview question that what's the difference between straight table and pivot table. Okay, so let me tell you, pivot table is very much useful for grouping same number of items, and like it can have a subtotaling, and it can be a pivoted structure so that it can you can show the bulk number of records in a very small area. But straight table it's just like a table, just like a normal table. It cannot be grouped together. Equal type of records cannot be grouped together, but it is very good in sorting. Okay, it can be you can change the orientation of the table also from vertical to horizontal. Okay, so these kind of differences are there. So let me just show you in the practical scenarios. Okay, I've chosen the pivot table. I have to create the data in a way so that I'll have some hierarchical structure. First of all, I'll add category. Against a category, I may have multiple uh, make, or maybe I'll just add this OH order header, or else a customer. I'll select the customer category. First of all, customer category here is a sub DESC because these are the SAP data. That's why the field names are not matching with the descriptions. Customer category, then years, order year, quarter, month, then order date, and in that date how many order have been taken place. I'll add the order number. Then from order detail I'll browse. In the order number I'll see what are the item placed in that order number. First of all, I'll add serial number of that order number. Actually, serial number. Against one order there can be multiple order items, so that is based on the serial number. I have item descriptions, which is the item name actually. Then UOM, unit of measurement, would be there. Unit of measurement. Then finally I'll choose the quantity and value. Okay, in the expression I'll add quantity because quantity and values of the order are numeric values. Okay, that cannot be there in the dimension. So sum of quantity and another sum of net amount. Okay, this is the order amount actually. Order amount. That's all. Next, next. Don't have to do anything here. Finish. Okay. This is called a pivot table actually. Well, first of all, I'll just change that suppress where the value is null. So the null values data, I mean the datas, those are not relevant to any customer category, that would be hidden. if you just check it, it will show you the garbage data also. Those are redundant. Those do not have any relation with this customer category. Okay, and I'll name those. These are customer category, year, quarter. See, all those data are hierarchical now. From year you can relate, quarter is inherited, then month is inherited, then date and so on. It's order date, order number, serial number of each order item. Now from top to bottom, all the items from the bottom to top, they are hierarchical. Okay, item name, UOM. Okay, just a second, I'm getting a call. UOM is unit of measurement. If there are 5 items, one should be in liters, one should be in packets, one should be in kg. Okay, so that's UOM. And now in the expressions also we have given the header, I mean label. Now you can see this is a category, and you can see these are the expressions in the category. If I'll go to next hierarchy, it's showing year. Okay, year 2012. That's what our data is. We don't have multiple years, and in that multiple years you can see so we have the data of first, second, third quarters. We don't have the data of 4 quarters. Okay, and first quarter we have again January, February, March. It's all are hierarchical, so you have to have the data like this, otherwise you cannot generate the pivot table. In the January we have list of dates for those are having the orders. Okay, in this date I have one order, in this date I have one order. Okay, so each states are having one order only, and in this order I have 5 line items. Okay, these items are the item names, serial number 1 2 3 4 5, and each this item is in number, this in number, all are in number, I suppose. Okay, UM, and you can see the quantity and price. See how beautiful it's look like. It's not possible at all in any Excel reporting, so it should be very much easy if it's possible. I mean, it should be very difficult. So you can see one category has multiple years of orders, and one year have multiple quarters, and in each quarter we have respective months, and in months we have respective dates and respective, and in single date also we have couple of orders, and in those orders we have, for this order we have 6 line items. Okay, for this order we have one line item only. For this order we have 2 line items. Okay, so like this, the for reporting in this way it's very much easy. Okay, and you can see against these orders, these are the quantities of the order. These are like 40 numbers, 40 number of this item. Okay, 10 numbers of items are there, 11 numbers, 3 4 and so on. Okay, and the amount. These are 240. These are actually in crores actually. This is a data of a steel plant. Okay. These are order placed by a customer, and accordingly the steel plant produces the goods. Okay. Produces the plates, bars and panels, all those things. Okay, so this was all about the pivot table, and as the benefit is you can have the partial sum also, which is not possible in the straight table. I'll show you what is partial sum. The presentation, you can select the partial sum everywhere. Month wise partial sum, quarter wise, year wise, date wise, that's all. Okay, now you can see I've given the partial sum. So if you see the total number of orders against a customer, category. So this is actually customer, it's not category. This is customer name. We have totally 3 customers or 3 clients. It's a customer name. Okay, we have totally 3 customers, that is Haran Connecting Real Estate. Okay, against this customer, what is the total number of quantities placed so far? It is 12,283, and the total number of uh, amount it's costing, it is this much. Okay, against 2012, what is the total number? You can see the partial sum also, this is because there's 1 year only. Against the first quarter, total number of item is 6767, and this price is this. For a particular month also you can see the total number. If you want to see the date wise bifurcations, you can also add it. Right click, go to property presentation, date. I've given the partial sum, I think. Yeah, order number. Yes, so you can see against each order you are getting total number is 78. If you just sum this individual number of items, it will be 78, and the total amount is this. So against this particular order, if you can click it, it's beautifully arranged. And against this particular order, we have 6 items. The serial number is 1 to 6, and item name is this. Okay, items, total number of quantity is this. Okay, this is for particular order actually. You just click it, you can click any other order. You can see individual order has its 3 number of uh, items. Their UOM, total quantity is 451, and total value is 80 crore. Okay, so that's what all about the pivot table, and the same can be copied to generate a state table. It has some different benefits altogether. Just go to generals, change it to state table. All its properties are same. You can have here, you cannot just do like this. You can, in the presentation, you can just make it total as to the last record. The presentation, you can select total on the last row. Now the total is showing the first row. Okay, yeah, this is total amount of all orders. You can see the customer name, quarters. So it's just like a plain table, but we can have sorting options here. If you want to make the sorting on quarter one basis, just click on this, double click on this, you'll get items sorted based on quarter one. If you want to make it from different month wise order, and that is also sorting is possible. Itemized sorting, ABCD, like that sorting is possible, but which is not possible in pivot table. Double click on the header, you're getting the sorting. Okay. If you want to have the quantity from lesser to higher, you're getting the sort also in this way, or higher to lesser. Okay, so you're getting sorted. Amount of which order is higher. Double click on this, it's lower actually. Double click on this, it's getting higher to lower. So 850 crore is the highest amount got by this item, got by this customer, which is not possible in pivot table. Okay, and also if you want to show it in a different uh, in a different orientation, just check the horizontal. All your rows, all your columns heading will be changed to rows. Okay, I've just changed the orientation. Okay, customer, year, month, all these were in the columns. Now those are changed to rows, and the data will be there in the columns. Respective data will be there in the columns. Okay, you can see this data are there. Okay, it is also somehow very much useful when you'll use in the practically. You can just see it, but these both the controls are very much highly used in reporting, in BI reporting, and they have some different benefits, by their own. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Okay, Pratima, Naveen, was it helpful to you today?
Yes, Amit.
Okay, sure. Meet you tomorrow at the same time. Okay, I'll send you the recordings.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, bye bye, Pratima.
Thank
Sure.
thank you, Amit.
Thank you so much.